Sunlight begins to fade now, and I feel like I'm losing time, but I don't know how I'm here. The sunlight has turned to gray, and I feel like I'm losing love again. I don't know how I'm here. I could feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. I could feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. 'Cause it's you I'm loving, and it's you that I wanna breathe. And it's you I'm loving, and it's you that I wanna need. And I know now we're getting older. The world we built is slipping through our fingers. We're running out of time. But you are the one I've chosen, and I won't lay still, living left behind, imprisoned by this love. I could feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. I could feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. 'Cause it's you I'm loving, and it's you that I wanna breathe. And it's you I'm loving, and it's you that I wanna need. And it's you that I wanna need.
everybody. How's everybody doing? I'm trying to like pause the music because, yeah. I think my computer's gonna hate me by the end of this stream because I am trying to use slobs and, just to do writing and stuff like that. But how is everybody doing? As you can see, I was watching Redneck Radio and somehow my Chrome's not responding. So we're stuck seeing Bear for however long until I can get back to the writing portion and you guys can see what I'm working on. So this stream is a geeky stream about writing, character arcs, character development. Not only in books, but in television shows, anime, movies, and games. Because, yes, in some games that you play, you do have character arcs in there. So, we're going to talk about all of that on the first geeky stream. Anyway, is it going dogging? Hello, God Pikachu, how are you? So, yeah, we've got that going on. Let me see. And yes, since this particular channel can, what was I going to say? Since this particular, my chat's not showing up because, chat and stuff, whatever. I don't know why it's not showing up. It's just been a pen and butt. Let me see. Let me come over here and see why my chat is not showing up. So yeah, we're going to be discussing that geeky aspect of stuff today because you've got to be able to discuss certain things, especially in this particular climate, in this day and age where it seems to me that character building, character arcs, and good storytelling is going the way of the dodo. Because people want to push a certain something. And they don't think the story matters. When story does matter, it matters an awful lot. Because when your character sucks, Maddie's on top chat. I'm trying. This is weird because in slobs it says I'm Madness Live in my phone, and on the live dashboard it says that I'm doing all that. Okay, let me switch to over here. Let me fix this. Come on, let me fix this. See, this is why I need either more memory for my wonderful little computer, or I need, there we go. Yay! So we should be showing up now. Yeah, so this is why I either need more memory for my laptop or for you guys to help me out by donating so I can get a better, computer, because there's nothing like a better computer, and I would like a better computer. Everybody would like a better computer at this point, I think. Yep, there it is. Chat box, that's the chat box, and it's supposed to be working. So you suck because you're not working, slobs. We'll see it, because it did show up for a second and then it disappeared again, so God only knows what's going on with this thing. But I'm not worried about it because I can see the chat over here in my dashboard. So yeah, let me get out of the back end here. Okay, so first thing I'm going to show you guys before we start really geeking out, as soon as my computer lets me do this. I have too much shit open. That's what it's trying to tell me. Way too much crap open. Okay. So I have a God Pikachu, I have a Diz in my chat, I have an RJ, a fuck what, hello. How are you guys doing today? You guys are going to see some of the back end of my writing process for those of you that haven't seen it before. This is the behind the scenes stuff that happens when I'm writing, part of the writing process. However, usually the Evernote stuff is on its regular application or software. Meaning, you're seeing the browser version because, and I will explain to you why, because since the last update of this stuff, you can't just share your application anymore. It's impossible to. So, in order to do that, let me see if I can get this thing to fit to screen. There we go. Yikes. Alright, let's try that again. It is fit to screen, alright. Now nobody can see it. Wow, okay. Let me see if I can get this thing to fit in the window. How much is that Evernote in the window? This thing has been invaluable to me, by the way. I absolutely love Evernote because it lets me organize stuff. And a lot of people, it's not only good for notes and projects and things of that nature, but it's also good for when you're working with a team. It's also good for keeping stuff organized as far as teamwork and stuff is concerned, different projects and things of that nature, because when you're working with more than one person, like I did in my heyday when my computer was working the way it was when I had a beast, you need to be able to share things. And the extra money that was spent for the premium service is absolutely invaluable. In that, as long as I'm sharing notebooks, everybody else can see my projects and share the notebooks as well. Yes, it is. It is very, very useful. And I was able to, for Evernote here, let me see if I can, because for this Evernote here, you've got, let me get to the notebooks. All right, for, I think it's $8 a month, you can download up to a certain amount of gigabytes. You can share through work chat with other people that use the software as well. You can organize stuff into notebooks. As you can see, I've got herbal books in process, my Mad Woman projects, which is basically used to be my Cuban documentaries, which I have to finish and I never got around to finishing. Any poetry I'm writing, my Victoria Chronicles. There's my House of Geek stuff. There's MWM Media for my main channel. And the Morning Brew, which as soon as we get everything up and running, is going to be used again between Merlin and myself for the morning news show. Above me, let me see if I can get this just right here. Above me, see, I'm having the same problem that, see, it's not easy, people. Right above me, there's a gold bar. Okay, for being completely transparent, the $1,200 that I have set the goal for is not only for a computer that will run OBS so you guys can watch me stream games. It's also streaming the news, any geeky stuff, for better video production. It's also furniture for my office. So you're literally, by donating and helping me reach that $1,200 goal, you're going to help me get a desktop computer, production equipment for my cooking videos, furniture for the office, and really get my studio set up so I can get up and running. As we hit milestones, or as I'm able to order stuff from the donations that you give me, I will be putting updates on my Twitter, on the blog, and also on Instagram. So you'll see the progression as we go, because I want to be completely transparent with where the money's going. I want to show you guys every step of the way, because I don't want you to think by any means and by any way possible that you're being scammed. What I say the money's going for is what the money is going for. You guys are literally helping me get equipment for the office and my studio, and you're going to help me get to the point where I can actually do the cooking videos, and you guys can be able to see what I'm cooking, because I want to set up the kitchen to where I've got cameras pointed toward the stove as well as me. You guys can see the ingredients, how I'm cooking the stuff, instead of just me and like the stove behind me, and you're trying to figure out, what's going on. I want to be able to do Brunch with Maddie the way I want to do it, on my terms. And that is you being able to see what I'm cooking as well as doing the cooking videos. So that's that. But yeah, Evernote is great. As you can see, I also have description pages. That's the one for my main channel. So I can come in here and change all my sources. Yeah. See, I'm on a laptop right now that only has like 4 gigs of RAM, but it has an i3 and all this stuff, but I want to get up to the point where I have a way better rig. So yeah. My writing stuff is esoteric, is as ADD as I am. I'm switching over here to my Google Docs so you can see this and see what's going on. This is from a fantasy book that I started reading and toying around with. So that is something that I am also working on. Let me see if I can go to my documents here so you guys can see everything that I have in the works. Let's go ahead and get rid of I'm trying to keep as little open as possible because this thing is not being very good to me. It isn't, but I'm trying. It's like I'm coaxing it. I'm going, you can do it. Let's see. Oh, my cast of characters. Okay. Let's see. In the chat, and here's a little poll for you guys. Just a short list. Of all the books you have read, if you guys have read any books, I'm assuming that that you are read to some degree. Who are your favorite authors? Now, this can include ebooks, since a lot of authors are going to ebooks, as well as traditional paper books. Mine are Ed McBain, Patricia Cornwell, Stephen King, Tolkien, obviously, R.A. Salvatore from the Forgotten Realms books. Those are my favorite as well. Let me see, what else? Oh yes, Asimov. I think I was the only person in my high school group that literally read I, Robot from cover to cover and loved it. Yeah, when you're a book geek, when you're any kind of geek, when somebody goes, "What's your favorite so and so?" It's you're doing one of these because you have so many favorites. I grew up in a house surrounded by books. My mom read thrillers. She read murder mysteries. She read police procedural novels. She read Tom Clancy. I never got into Clancy. J.K. Rowling, yeah. Well, she still is her Harry Potter series is still good, so we'd have to separate her series from her. But yeah, her Harry Potter series was really good. There was a lot of good character development there in those. Now the ones afterwards I haven't read, so I can't comment on. But let's see. I'm trying to remember. Because I remember high school. High school was a lot of required, because remember, we all had a required reading list in high school. They gave you a book. They told you had to use the book. They quizzed you on the books. And I think the one book that I never forgot that I read, two actually. One because it was so boring, it was pitiful. Okay, truthfully, three. I'm lying, 3. Because one... There was this one book called The Invisible Man. Not the Invisible Man you would think of, the dude that nobody can see. This Invisible Man book was about a black guy living in an all-white society and how he was invisible to society as a whole, to the point where he was stealing electricity from his neighbors, and people would say all sorts of stuff about him like he didn't exist. That book bored me to tears. I hate required reading that bores me to tears because it becomes, for me, in a joking sense, insomnia medicine, because it puts me to sleep. We got to read Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in high school, which I thought was endlessly interesting. That one kept my attention a lot. The other one, Everybody Hates Chris. I heard that book mentioned. Yeah. There was, let's see, the other book that was that really was a slog for me was The Grapes of Wrath. And when we had a break and the teacher paused for a minute and she was asking us what we thought of the books, she looked at me and she goes, "Well, what do you think of The Grapes of Wrath?" I said, "Well, you said it was written during the Depression, right?" She goes, "Correct." I said, "Good, that's adequate, because this book is depressingly boring." Because that's what I thought. It's completely boring. I did not like it. I just really couldn't stand it. I couldn't get into it because they weren't my kind of books. when we broke into Edgar Allan Poe. I loved Edgar Allan Poe. I think that was the beginning of me realizing that my imagination kind of, loved the twisted shit. Because anything that had to do with murder, mystery, suspense, anything having to do with science fiction, I'm there. I'm reading it. My nose is in the book and it's cover to cover. You give me a romance novel, I'm asleep within 3 pages. Believe me, I've tried reading those. I can't get into those for squat. I don't know how people can read those. I really don't. When I started my freelance writing, I literally to this day I have to turn down jobs. Grapes for Breath of Burn. Yeah, I had to turn down jobs on the freelance site in which I have an account because they were like, "Oh, we need you to write a romance novel." I don't write those. I'm sorry. I don't, and I will never ever have those. I know that's not going to work for me. Let me see here. This is Ian Wolf. Nope. That's the commission. Okay, this is. Let me see how many pages of this I have. This is Jungle of the Lost is a book about one of my characters that I toy around with from time to time. And this is a book where I literally had to ask for help from Ronan because it has an element in it. Okay, this only has 2 pages, which means I got to go back and add to it again. All right. It's about a drow society, and the reason I had to ask Ronan for help is because it contains something in it that I have no knowledge of, and that is a sibling relationship. When they tell you to write what you know, there are some people out there that roll their eyes, and there are other people that go, okay, that makes sense. I'm the okay, that makes sense category, because when you try to write things that you don't know about, you wind up misconstruing it. And then the first time that I tried to write about a sibling relationship and Ronan read it, he's like, yeah, that's not a brother-sister relationship. I'll teach you how to dial that back, he said. And he did. And the main reason we're only seeing 2 pages of this instead of more pages of this is because, well, the laptop that it used to be on had problems. The old potato of a laptop had to be rebooted, and this is before I started getting in the habit of backing things up to like Google Drive or other things. So that book is no longer with us, which frustrates me because this book and another book that I started are back down to 2 pages when I was really deep into writing those books. Okay, to get everybody typing in the chat, because this is as much a conversation with you guys as it is me going over my writing stuff. When you read a book, watch a movie, or a television show, and I don't mean a sitcom television show, okay? What do you look for in a character? What do you look for in the character writing? What kind of character do you look for? Now, I'm asking you because I am going to start putting restrictions on what I mean. I don't want you to give me sex. I don't want you to give me gender in case you separate the 2. I don't want you to give me race. I don't want you to give me physical characteristics of a character. I want you to give me the nitty-gritty. I want you to give me what you consider a good character in character traits and the like. That's what I mean when I ask you, what do you like to see in a character? Because it's easy to say, I like A, B, C, I like generally female characters and blah, blah, blah. I want you to describe to me what you consider a good character is, what a strong character is. Okay? In your own words, in the chat. I want you to describe that to me. Okay, Cynical Lindsay. I look for complexity in a character. What is their personality, what their motivations are, etc. Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. I completely agree with that. Let's see here. Boop, 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 boop. Where is my saving? I know my saving Jasmine is over. I think that's this one. That's my story notes. Editing Google Docs. Personality. I've always been a sucker for the rogue with a heart of gold, the good guy who has to do bad things but would rather not. Yeah, that's always good. That always makes for a good character. That always makes for a good character. I'm looking for a specific story that I'm working on and I can't seem to find. Oh, there he is. I kept going by him. See, there are different ways of defining a personality. So when you say personality to me, RJ, I'm thinking this is a wide scope. You can always narrow that down. What kind of personality are you talking about? What kind of personality are we talking about? Let's see here. I've always been more of a fan of the anti-hero type, someone who's morally gray, someone who may do something that's morally questionable, but you understand their actions even if you might not agree. Yes, those are interesting characters. Those make for very interesting characters. I have to agree with that. I like my protagonist depending on the genre. If it's a kind of like a dark sort of adventure, I would say the anti-hero. The guy who goes through any length to do what needs to be done and doesn't mind stepping on toes along the way. That particular anti-hero is it can be interesting, and it can also be a challenge to write. Because you can do an anti-hero like that, but you can wind up, if you don't write them correctly, them going too far one way or the other. Let's see. The Rogue with a Heart of Gold is one of the easier ones because I'm thinking, okay, give me some character names of a Rogue with a Heart of Gold. There's your next challenge. What characters would you consider rogues with hearts of gold? As for personality, I've been into the mysterious type, someone who's hard to figure out. Ooh, those are interesting characters to write in books because you never want to give away too much information. You never want to give away too much information. Yep. Let me see here. So we got a rogue with a heart of gold. Okay, now, also I want you guys to think about and reply to me in the chat is how much of a struggle do you think a protagonist needs to go through to be a good protagonist in the story? The easiest one is Han Solo. Yeah, that's the easiest one. That's the easiest one. I had to agree. Yep. Han Solo is easy. Let's see. Let's see here. Holy shit, this thing got all the way to 4 pages. And I needed to type more in there, but couldn't do that because the hard copy is back at the Roach Trap. Me being a Walking Dead fan, I think Rick Grimes is a perfect example of a rogue with a heart of gold. He has to do things morally questionable to protect his people. Yep, and I am including television and movies. We're not doing comic books just yet. We'll get to that. We will get to that. Let's see here. It always seems to me when I read like certain novels or watch certain TV shows, if there's a team, and if the camera shakes, it's because I accidentally kicked the table. If there is an ensemble cast, there's always one of each. There's always one of each in there. You've got your rogue with a heart of gold. You've got your guy that does things for questionable reasons or goes about doing them with questionable methods. You've got your goody two shoes that is trying to be, the moral compass for everybody. You've got the grounding force. You've got the tough guy persona. I think one of my favorite TV shows that had an ensemble that worked well was and let me brain fart. Criminal Minds. There we go. Criminal Minds to me had a very good cast. They worked well with each other, and the different personalities worked well too. And Garcia was the heart of the team. She was definitely the heart of the team. She's the one that, kind of pulled them out of the darkness they kept going in every day, because she was the one that didn't dive, most of the time head deep into it. She was the hacker chick. She was the hacker chick. Let me see. One mysterious character. See, I have not seen that anime, so I do not know who you are talking about. Let's see here. Let me see. Yeah, let's see. See, my favorite animes, I tend to go back, and I mean back, for my animes. And what I mean by that is the first anime I ever saw, obviously, from my channel, was Battle of the Planets. Because you had one of each particular person on the team. And then the one after that was Star Blazers. It's like, if you look at it, there's certain patterns, there's certain formulas everybody goes by, whether it be a book or TV show, an anime, a movie. Because as much as we think we have an original idea, when you boil down stories and television shows and plots for movies and such, there's very limited ideas. Very, very limited ideas. He knows how to drive a car, but can be a bit clueless about the cars he's racing against. That's funny. That would make for, interesting situations, I would think. That would make for very, very interesting situations. Let me see. Okay, this is a book for those of you that know what Shadowrun is. Shadowrun is a game that was spawned from Cyberpunk. So now that we've gone back to the Cyberpunk roots, this book is more like a fan fiction. His dad got him to start driving in the 7th grade. Okay. And it's in a world that is you're highly suspicious of things. So if you're talking over an open communication line, you can't necessarily say, well, let's meet up for this particular run on this day and in this place. So over here, that's why I wrote this the way I did. She viewed the newly acquired information, which is the pay data that one of the characters got from the Matrix, or the net in this book. Raven began to put a plan in motion. She picked up the telecom and dialed Frontman's LTG. Everybody has street names. You don't go by the real name, you go by street names. Kind of like the internet. Yeah, how are things down at the ranch? Nothing down at the barn, but much action tomorrow at the kennel. Dad wouldn't flip the bill? Nope, I guess he has an aversion to Mexican food. Call me when you're finished at the kennel. Time flies. Gotcha, Ma. That leaves Dash, Zap, Silver Fox, and Downshift. My husband and I want to play Shadowrun, but we can never find anyone interested in starting a campaign. I run 3rd edition, but I have to get the books because when we went back to the Roach Trap to get all my gaming material, most of it was molded. All of it was molded, actually. So I have to build my world back up. which frustrates the living snot out of me. I do have homebrew kind of stuff. Let me see if that's over here. It should be. Let me see here. There's my drive. Okay, let's go to the drive. Same way with me when I want to play Forza Online with some friends. Yeah. Let's see what we got going on, because I know I stored it over here. Oh, there it is. Shadowrun. I run 3rd edition, by the way. I'm old school that way. I do Shadowrun 3rd edition when I do run it. Oop, that could be. Let's see here. Come on. Open the folder. Open the folder. You can do it. Yay. All my PDFs. Okay, Miami data dump. Here we go. Open with Google Docs. So yeah, what I did was, in 3rd edition, I did my own homebrew, Lindsay, and what I did was I separated Florida from the CAS. Now, for those of you who don't know what CAS is, that's Confederate American States. It's broken into districts. That's not exactly right. This is how long it's been, but yeah. Florida, the whole of Florida, is now called the United Seminole Nation because the Seminoles said, fuck you, kicked everybody out, and reclaimed their land. And they are the only place in what used to be called the United States, the continental United States, that has fresh food and water. And you play Shadowrun, so you know how very valuable that can be. So yeah, so I go through this whole thing about what the United Seminole Nation is, what the history of it is, how it came to be. So I went this in depth with it, with the homebrew. There's 5 sectors in the United Seminole Nation. You got Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, Orlando, and Miami. Let's see, transportation getting from point A to point B is now regulated by the wonderful United Seminole Transit System, or USTS. This means you have to pay them creds to travel by bus or maglev. No Florida man. Nope, no Florida man. But I do have some funny things going up through here because they kicked out stuff but left the rednecks, Panama City and the Panhandle. They can come and, vacation, but they can't really stay there. That's how I did it. Okay, let's see here. As you can see, there's lots of vernacular for the game here, like chummer. I said you still got Yellow Cab, check or Cabin Central. They will get you where you need to be, and for a few extra cred, they keep their yaps shut. Because, mum's the word is very important in Shadowrun. You can't get crap done if, you have loose lips. Is there anything left? Now, here's my little contribution to the joke. We still have Disney, although it's a Small World attraction fell prey to a stray bomber tent. SeaWorld is now home to awakened aquatic life, has also added cockatrices, hellhounds, and other awakened critters. The Miami Seaquarium has expanded so that people can go see what's under the ocean. So there is that. So here's the Miami-Dade sector, as you would, imagine. And I break it down into, the lifestyles, and the colleges and universities are still open, the nightlife and entertainment. Let me see here. Even the street gangs and stuff that are available. So, yeah. I got all that stuff broken down in it. So, yeah. Apparently not all of it got, not all of it got scanned in. I hate that. That pisses me off. So there's still some work I've got to do. But, yeah. But there's that. For those of you that don't know what Shadowrun is, you take Dungeons and Dragons, you put it in the future, you slap Cyberpunk on it, stir it up, and you have Shadowrun. Or take a combination of The Matrix, if you've seen it, and Blade Runner, and you've got Shadowrun. Funny enough, one of the fictional states I created in this Wales, sister location to Wales. But yeah, that's what I came up with in terms of, my own little homebrew thing. Let's see. Yeah, they're just called casinos. Yep. Let me see here. What do you mean wow. I still got my Benny intro there. Shadowrun is very interesting because you've got, instead of priests, you have shamans. Shamans have to pick a totem. They get bonuses according to what their totem is. You can be a street mage, and you can be what is called a physical adept. A physical adept is someone who has internalized the magic that has awakened in the land and has augmented abilities. Let's see. You can be a rigger, which is somebody who can remote control drones and vehicles, or they can drive. Well, that also includes driving, stunt driving and things of that nature. You can be a decker, which is a hacker, and a hacker takes on a different feel in Shadowrun. This is where the Matrix portion comes in. You are actually in what is called the Matrix, looking up pay data, fighting intrusion countermeasures and things like that to make sure that you can get the pay data you need without losing your nut. Because you can. Some of the intrusion countermeasures can make you lose your nuts. Hi, Wiki! Welcome. Okay, now here's going to be an easy question to answer for those of you in the chat. Name 3 characters that have recently shown up in media that can be considered quote-unquote Mary Sue's or Gary Stu's, I guess they call them. That should be easy. I love the concept of bringing fantasy to a cyberpunk world. That's why I'm interested in Shadowrun. Yeah, Shadowrun's fun. I played a rigger for 4 years because I liked the rigger. I was an elven rigger. Oh, cool. That is cool. Let's see. Google Photos. There's my MWM Media again. I don't know who Gloria Kipp is, so I am not going to open that folder. Ray and Captain Marvel. Okay. Ghostbusters 2016. I don't know because I haven't seen that movie, but yeah, I can go with that. Now, why would you say, and this is going to be a valid question, list why you think Captain Marvel is a Mary Sue? Because there are reasons. We know there are reasons. The hell out of Arya Stark. Well, to me, that's arbitrary because I stopped watching at the end of season 4 when she was going to the island to become one of the Faceless. So I can't really comment as to whether or not, or how OP she actually is. So I can't comment on that completely because I haven't seen all 8 seasons. I just saw the first 4, and apparently, according to a lot of people online, the first 4 were the best 4 because those are the ones that came from the books, if I remember correctly. And even then, at the time that we were watching, I had a friend that was reading the books that would tell us the difference. She's a feminist. Nope. That's not why she's a Mary Sue. Well, we'll explain why she's a Mary Sue in just a second. A Mary Sue is a character that doesn't have to work very hard to achieve what they achieve. Sometimes they are well liked by everyone and hated by none. They have no character flaws. They miraculously know how to do shit. Because there's been no explanation as to why Captain Marvel is so OP and she never had to deal with defeat. Exactly. No struggles whatsoever. Now we're talking about Captain Marvel, the character, not Brie Larson, the actress. Brie Larson, the actress, is a feminist mouthpiece. I will agree with you on that one, RJ. To, ad nauseum, she's a feminist mouthpiece. Okay. Yeah, she's just... The more I heard about Captain Marvel, the more I'm like, so why do they need the rest of the Avengers in Endgame since, and then I realized by listening to all the spoilers that she only had, 15 minutes of airtime? Which I thought was hilarious. People were reading about the fact that she only had 15 minutes worth of airtime, and I'm like, yeah, that's funny. I find that absolutely hilarious. Let me see here. Now, I've listed my reasons to some of my friends, many of my friends, and online on Twitter to somebody who continues to defend her as to why Rey is a Mary Sue. Now, can you guys come up with reasons as to why Rey is a Mary Sue? Well, I look for the... Where'd you go? Look at the front of the... There we go. 13. You mean I have not worked on this thing in years? Resources. 15 minutes of fame. Let's see. ODT, here's my districts. ABW. God, ABW sucks. Let me see. Is that the one I want? No, that's the small one. Fuck. Nope, not at 58 pages. Okay, let's try something else. It should be longer. I'm not sure. Download. Whoops! There was a problem previewing this. Wow. Alright, let's see what we can do here. There are several reasons why she is. Okay, how many pages does this thing have? I wish it would tell me. It is not telling me, I don't know. Eckies. 16 pages, okay. So the one 58 pages has more pages. That's confusing. That is confusing. Alright, so we have a new document. We're gonna open up a new document. And this one, you guys are going to help me write. Not that it's going to be a script or anything, but I'm just putting your ideas on the screen. That way, we're having a constructive conversation here. Alright, so, let me see here. So far, boop, 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 boop. Good characters. Rogue. With a heart of gold. Example, Han Solo, even though he was an easy one, we'll put him on here anyway. Then we had the anti-hero, which I believe Deadpool, I believe, is a great anti-hero. Okay, now we have Mary Sue, Gary Stu characters. And if I ever learn how to type, I'll quit making those mistakes. Okay. Gary Stu. Alright, so far we've got Captain Marvel. No explanation. Okay. Let's see. No explanation of her power levels. Okay. My typos are bad. You're watching my typos live. No, yeah, live. Okay, and then we have Ray. There's a lot of them for Ray. Ray is no reason for her Falcon piloting skills. Let's see here. Jedi who managed to pick up a lightsaber. Exactly. Right. So we can call that an easy transition from one weapon to another. In her case, it's staff to lightsaber. Defeat of a trained enemy, which shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. Let's see here. What else can we come up on Ray's list of Mary Sue offenses? Let me see here. So, let's see. What can we come up with? We've got her Falcon piloting skills that no one knows where they came from. Easy transition from one weapon to another. A staff to a lightsaber, which we know when you're switching from one weapon to another, there's got to be some sort of training period there. The defeat of a highly trained enemy. I've got one. Let's see. Knowledge of... And see, I can't... let me scoot my keyboard over. It helps me sometimes. Knowledge of other languages. And I'm going to put Wookiee. Let's see. No mention of travel before adventure. Okay, I haven't seen the oh my god. I watched The Last The Last Jedi. I was not impressed. I was not impressed. I keep calling it The Last Mary Sue for a reason, because good God, to me she was a Mary Sue. Let's see. No mention of travel before her adventure. Because they never say that she got off. They never said that she lived anywhere other than Jakku. So if she lived on that planet all of her life, unless any Wookiees lived on Jakku, she wouldn't know how to speak Wookiee or any foreign language for that particular reason, just the languages native to her planet. 2, you can't pick up a lightsaber and wield it expertly, and I use that loosely because every time she wielded the thing, I felt like she was swinging wild, like she was trying to hit a fucking home run or something. She looked like a little kid with an oversized weapon. It made me cringe every time she swung that lightsaber, swear to God. She's also managed to use Jedi mind trick on the Stormtrooper. Exactly. Okay. Use of force powers without training. Alright. That's another one. That is another one. Let's see here. So far we've got 6 things on the list of what was wrong with Rey. Can we come up with any more? Let me see. I'm thinking. I'm a thinning. Got this list going on. All right. Let's see here. Let's see. Let me put some music on in the background. That way we have a little accompaniment with what we're doing here. I hope the music isn't too loud. Like, I'm supposed to believe that she's as powerful and experienced as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Look, yeah, right? That was my whole thing. And it's like, it's like everybody's like, oh, you know, she's trained. She's gotten all this training and blah, blah, blah. She hasn't gotten any training. She found Luke. She gave Luke his lightsaber. He tossed it over his shoulder. She asked him to help her. He refused. He flat out refused. Gave her one lesson. One. On how to meditate. And all of a sudden, bada bing, bada boom, she knows how to use the fucking Force and has a complete understanding of it. Bullshit. There was a theory she was trained in the past and had her memories erased. See, when you gotta come up with theories as to somebody's backstory, that's how bad the character is. Because everybody put ones in the chat if you like to watch a movie that revolves around a good hero's journey. Because I know I do. I loved watching Luke's progression from Tatooine on. I loved how he came home and saw his family dead, how he had to find Obi-Wan, was talking to Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan started mentoring him, and he went on that hero's journey and all the struggles that he went through. The fact that he was scared into... See? Everybody likes a good hero's journey. When you compare Luke's character with Rey's character, there's no comparison. The hero's journey was there. It was woven into the story. It was his story. And it was also the rebellion story against the Empire. It turns out she's a clone. I mean, it just... To me, you gotta have a good hero story, period. You just can't slap a label on it, you know, and inject her into a story, inject any character into a story, and all of a sudden, they can do this. I mean, to me, the only time that would be acceptable is if a franchise had been rebooted so many times that if you haven't seen the origin story by now, you're just going to have to go somewhere else to find it. And the best example of this would be the Batman franchise that has been rebooted twice now, and the Spider-Man franchise. Because once you see, if you go to the movie theaters or if you read the comic books, you know the origin story. And to me, every time you reboot something, you don't need to reboot the origin story. There are some stories that don't change with a hero, and to me, the origin story doesn't change. Now, in some characters, it can be ambiguous and it can change from iteration to iteration. I think Superman might be an evidence of that. I'm not sure. I may be wrong. You know, but there are some things that stay constant. Because I personally like the first... Oh, music's a little loud. Okay. How about now? Alright. See, now I know what P-Dog's going through because I'm using slobs instead of regular OBS. Alright, so... Okay. So now we're going to talk about... Okay, cool. Now we're going to talk about something that some people may find a little more controversial. Okay? Here we go. Tokenized characters. I'm going to put this in bold. And I'm going to make it just a wee bit bigger. That way everybody can see what we're talking about. And everybody can get in on this conversation. Okay? Now, first, just like we did with Mary Sue. First thing we're going to do is we're going to define what tokenized is. What do you guys consider a tokenized character? We're going to formulate this particular definition. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Most definitely. What is your definition of a tokenized character? These are the kind of streams I want to have on this channel. So, yeah. Be on the lookout. And don't forget, this channel is not planning on being monetized anytime soon. So if you want to support it, there is a Streamlabs link below in the description. So let's see. First, we're going to define what a tokenized character is. Definition. As soon as I remember how to spell definition, we'll be on our way. Definition. A character. No. Token not to be exactly. That has no, how about original origin? A character that exists merely to fill a quota. How's that? Does that sound good? Character that is clearly being used as representation. Exactly, okay. Being used as representation. Okay. Character is solely being used to virtue signal. Okay. A virtue signal. Okay. Alright, so we could say that, alright, so examples, and this should be a long list of examples. Okay, I'm going to start out by saying Riri Williams and Batwoman. Can you guys name some tokenized characters? So this should be fun, yeah. The character token, yeah, definitely. And they made, I love South Park because they made fun of it for that particular reason. Token of South Park, yep. Alright, Kamala Khan. Now, why do you think Kamala Khan is a tokenized character, Lindsay? Because remember, they have separated Captain Marvel from Miss Marvel. They're two different characters. America Chavez is the epitome of token. Okay. Alright. I take it he's supposed to be the new Captain America or something? I'm a little out of the loop. Let's see. Now, here it is. Would you guys consider Captain Marvel a tokenized character? Like to hear the answers on that one. Oh, here's one. Female Thor. Yeah. Okay. I'll give you that one. Let's see. We got the female Thor. Yep. Okay. Well, some people would consider this one a tokenized Spider-Man. And there is a particular YouTuber that thinks that one is tokenized. Oh, okay, yeah, that would be tokenized. That would be tokenized. That would be tokenized. Let's see here. Let's see, because we have Batwoman. Now, one in the chat if you think Batgirl is tokenized. Two in the chat if you think she is not. I'll let you guys vote that one out. Okay. There's 1, 2 in the chat. That's 2. All right, now, here's another question for my fellow geeks. This is a trickier question, okay? Same thing, 1 for yes, 2 for no. Do you think there has been a tokenization of Green Lantern? One for yes, 2 for no. Do you think there has been a tokenization of Green Lantern? There you go. That's why she's not one. Perfect. Yep. And when she gets in the wheelchair, I believe she changes her name to Oracle. If I remember correctly. So I have no dog in this fight. An expert on Green Lantern. Okay. Alright, I am going to go to the bathroom and do a couple of things. I will be right back, so if you guys want to take a break too and walk around, you can as well. I'll be back in a few. And I forgot to unmute myself, so let's start this again. I'm an idiot. I know it. Okay. The Green Lantern Corps is a group of individuals who are called Green Lanterns who patrol different sectors of the universe. How they do this is by wielding a ring of power. This ring of power chooses its wielder. First wielder in the sector that contained the planet Earth was Hal Jordan. From then it chose different wielders, including John Stewart, a former U.S. Marine who happened to be of a dark complexion, or black, or whatever you want to call him. And then after that, it is my understanding that they made him Asian. I'm not sure. Don't know much after John Stewart. So knowing the brief history of the Lantern, very brief, because boy did I abbreviate that shit. Knowing the history of the Ring and the Lantern Corps, do you think there can be a possibility of a Green Lantern character being tokenized? Ryan Reynolds portrayed Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern movie, yes. So you are correct. Now, here's another tricky question, but you guys are smart because I think we're having fun with this discussion. Of the comic book movies that we have seen to date, either in the theaters, at home, or in trailer form, what do you think would be, or could be, if they decided to do this, the most blatant way to tokenize a character? Of the already established ones that have come out in the movies. I have an idea. I want to know what yours is. I can agree with that, Lindsay. As long as they're not boasting about their identity, I wouldn't have a problem with it either. Yeah, I mean it's easy to do stuff. Let me see. I think, and I need to learn how to spell. Okay, so I think my contribution to this would be and there's an example of what I'm talking about. And what I mean by tokenization. Here's one they already did. I think we all remember when that happened. Even though we would like to forget that that happened. And this is a They Turned. We forgot about this guy. I always forget about him, but now I'm brain farting. I am brain farting. Okay, here we go. I think they tried to reboot Ghostbusters and failed. My thing about the entire 2016 Ghostbusters is I think it would have been more accepted if it was passing of the torch. But yeah, I'll put that on the list. Because, I mean, I watched a couple of the, let's see. I watched a couple of the trailers and I watched some clips from the Ghostbusters 2016 movie. And the things that really smacked me in the face was they played up to a hysterically ridiculous degree the loud black lady stereotype and the stupid loud black lady stereotype and the stupid blonde receptionist stereotype. Neither one of those two happened in the original Ghostbusters movie. Ooh, yeah, the new female Who. Yep. Mm-hmm. The female doctor. Yep. Yep. Now, in the original Ghostbusters, Winston Zeddemore was the mundane guy in the group of scientists. He was the grounding force. He was the one that came in with the common sense way of looking at the particular problem that they were facing. He wasn't dumb by any means. He wasn't loud or obnoxious. He was just looking for a job. I mean, he literally stated it. If there's a paycheck in it, I'm in. Did that diminish who he was as a character in the original Ghostbusters movie? No, it didn't. It didn't. Then you had Annie Potts, who played the receptionist for the Ghostbusters crew, who, again, she wasn't stupid. She wasn't incompetent. You know, she was a very smart individual. Let's see, it seems awfully coincidental that Gallifreyans can change genders during the era of woke progressivism when that was never mentioned from the start. Actually, I believe it was mentioned during one of the seasons of Matt Smith with a particular doctor named Corsair. He said that that particular doctor was known to change genders on a whim. Oh, from the start of Doctor Who. Okay, in that case, yeah, you got a point. In that case, you got a point. That point goes to you, madame. Because, yeah, that wasn't mentioned until Matt Smith. And Matt Smith was, well, I think, on their way to being progressive from then on. But it was never mentioned in the entire course of our Doctor as we know him that he ever wanted to be female. Ginger? Yes. Female? No. You know, and they played up that ginger role. They played up the ginger joke in later Doctors. Am I ginger? No, you're not ginger. Am I ginger? No. But see, to me, if they were going to gender swap the Doctor, it could have been a wonderful exploration of who the female doctor was if it would have been written right, but it wasn't. It wasn't handled right at all. Because I'd rather be Ginger, right? I mean, because up until that point, the doctor had only ever been male. There could have been comedic instances when he tried to do something as a female and realized that he wasn't able to do it anymore because of the differences in biology between a female and a male. The regeneration haze, and him, finding out that he's a woman, and that particular reaction would have been absolutely wonderful. Written correctly, it would have been one hell of a start to a new Doctor and a new season. But they didn't handle it right. There's too many progressive beats in entertainment media. And they need to just knock it off. Really. They need to stop. Just entertain us. Don't narrate to us. Don't preach to us. Don't try to indoctrinate us. Just entertain us. It's all we want. All entertainment is an escape from the everyday, an escape from the stress, and an escape from all the politics that we all have to deal with on a daily basis. And we don't want any of the bullshit that stresses us in our games. Didn't the Doctor have a wife, though? If so, that makes no sense of the gender swap, if you ask me. He had one at one time. We're talking about River Song. I believe that was the wife that he had. He had that wife from Smith to Capaldi. And then that fucked up timeline ended. So when Capaldi left River, they were no longer together, I'm assuming, because after that you didn't hear from her again. Yeah. After that you didn't hear from her again, so you don't know what happened to her. See, that's a big plot what the fuck in Doctor Who. Because first of all, everybody's heard of the Star-Crossed Lovers. Okay? Perfect, wonderful story. It's a cute little story to add in to any major storyline. Little Star-Crossed Lovers. Yay, isn't that cute? But I never understood, because it always boggled me, how the Doctor can be moving in one direction in the timeline and River Song be completely opposite in the time. That never made any sense to me. Never, ever. I'm like, why can't you just have them going in time at the same time instead of them one moving forward and one moving backward? That didn't make any fucking sense. I'm like, Moffat, why? Because that was a mind screw, in my opinion. Because River Song to me was the perfect counterpoint to who the Doctor was at the time. Because the Doctor doesn't like to kill. After the major war, he didn't want to kill anybody. He wanted to resolve stuff without killing people. And here comes River Song, who was basically raised to kill the Doctor, who fell in love with the Doctor, which was a wonderful little irony. Romeo and Juliet were star-crossed lovers, and look what happened to them. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That is completely true. I can't fault that one. Yeah. But it's like, so many things happened from Tennant to Smith to Capaldi with the whole River Song thing that was just confusing. It was confusing to me because I'm like, I don't get how you people. Yeah, I know. These people with their progressive messages and stuff will never cease to just frustrate me. Just leave the shit out of my entertainment, please. I don't want to see it. If I wanted to see it, then, I'd be all over it in a heartbeat, but I don't want to see it. Yay! In my 480p glory. Here we go. Woohoo! Here I am. There's my face, my messed up hair and everything because it's Saturday and screw it. It's just, to me, you have to write a story and you have to, your character has to be solid. You have to know what direction you want to take your character in. Your character has to have depth, struggles, a why for why they're doing things, a how for why they're doing it. Because really, as was pointed out to me, yeah, it is. It is, RJ. As was pointed out to me by a friend of mine, what was Rey's motivation for leaving Jakku and helping the rebels? I mean, nobody helped her. Nobody helped her struggle. Nobody helped her scavenge. Nobody helped her do anything. She had to do all of this shit by herself. So what was her motivation to leave the planet that she was in and go fight for the rebel cause? To me, it was just, I mean, everybody was like, oh, well, she's supposed to do it, so that's why she did it. Can anybody give me a reason as to why? What would have motivated her to leave? Because obviously fighting for the rebellion doesn't make you a millionaire. I mean, her life wasn't the easiest thing in the world, but still, give me a freaking break. You know, what motivated you? What made you go, oh, I have to go fight for the rebellion? Because, you know, to me, she wasn't motivated to do such at any point. But she did it anyway, which made no sense. Right, exactly. Exactly. I mean, Luke had a motivation. Obi-Wan had a motivation to train Luke. Because if you look at it a certain way, Obi-Wan wanted to redeem himself for the fiasco of training Luke's father. Because he did. He was young. He tried to train Luke's father against the advice of the council. And in the process, botched the training. Even though I really don't think he botched it. And Anakin became Darth Vader. So I think he was on a little bit of a redemption arc to prove to himself that he could train someone to be a Jedi. So, you know, but there's character growth there. Where's Yoda when you need him, right? Right? It just, it gets me. It always freaking gets me because everybody's like, well, we need to do this and we need to do that. No. First, you start with your characters. Who are your characters? Who? It's the most important question you can ask before you write a screenplay, before you write a short story, before you write a novel, even before you sit down to play a role-playing game at a table. Who is your character? What are their motivations? What is their backstory? Why would they do A, B, and C? Fuck what? Because there has to be a clear set of motivations. What are their personality quirks? What struggles have they gone through? You know, what keeps them going? Because without these questions, without answering these questions, without fleshing out a character, you get your Reys. You get your Carol Danvers. You get these impervious, overpowered characters that can do no wrong. And henceforth, you get unrealistic characters. Because we want to be able to root for our protagonist. We want to be able to take a look at our protagonist and we want to be able to relate to our protagonist. You can't relate to the hero of a story if they're perfect. You can't relate to them if they can do no wrong, if they never get hurt, if they never fail. Because we all have failings. We all have personality quirks. We all have struggles. We all have problems and stress. And we have to be able to relate to these hero characters in order for us to endear ourselves to them. To, you know, root for them and become, yes, in a way, attached to them. Because we all have a favorite character in Harry Potter. We all have a favorite character for those of us who have read The Lord of the Rings. We all have a favorite character in the Big Bang Theory TV show. We all have a favorite character, companion in Doctor Who. Exactly. And it's just, but they're not perfect. I mean, to me, my favorite companion on the top of my list will forever be Mary Jane. She will always be. Yeah. I mean, you have to have a struggle. You have to have some kind of obstacle to create depth in your character. And the same thing, if you flip it and look at the enemy, you can have too perfect of a villain. But the villain still has to have that motivation as to why they're doing what they're doing, which is working against the protagonist in one way or the other. Now, there are times, right? They shouldn't be. And they shouldn't be. I mean, there are times when you take a look at the villain and you can relate to the villain a little bit more than you can the protagonist. Because, even though the villain portrays himself to be evil, sometimes, you can relate to why they're doing what they're doing and why they're doing it and how they're doing it. Perfect example of a villain people absolutely love to hate, but they can relate to him in a small way, Magneto. Because Magneto is what happens when somebody has been downtrodden, beat up, abused, and his people oppressed to the point where he thinks the only solution in society is by eliminating any and all opposition. Now, his method of bringing freedom to mutants is a bloody one, obviously. He does not think that mutants and humans can coexist peacefully. But then again, look at where he came from. Look at his backstory. Look at his journey to get him to where he is, to everybody recognizing him as Magneto. He didn't have it easy. He didn't have it like Professor X or Xavier. He didn't have it as good as Xavier. Xavier has this altruistic way of, this idealistic way of we can all work together. Can't we all get along? And then, here comes Magneto, who's been through hell and back and is like, no, we can't. We absolutely can't. It has to be done my way. To become invested in a character, you have to see them go through a struggle. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Whether it's a hero or a villain, or both, they have to go through a struggle. Now, Xavier, from his backstory, he didn't go through much of a struggle except for, his being disabled and that. But when you look at Magneto's backstory, you understand why he does what he does. You understand why he is who he is. Yeah, I'm trying to set the camera a little more on me. And it's... You want to feel for him. Because the man's been through hell. The man's been through utter hell. And then if you go to another villain, let's say, the one they always stick in every fucking Superman movie, save for one, I think. Let's take a look at Lex Luthor. Okay? Rich kid. Trust fund baby. Intelligent to the ends of the earth. Jealous of fucking Superman. Wants to get rid of Superman. Is just completely fixated on Superman because he sees Superman as his adversary. Now, to me, that's as basic of a good guy, bad guy dynamic as you can possibly get. Very, very basic. Very basic. And Lex Luthor, though he makes a good a good villain, I never really liked him. I will admit I like mysterious villains like Galactus. Yes, Galactus is a good one. His motivations are not complex, but you can understand his motivations. It's all about self-preservation when it comes to Galactus. Yes. And because of that self-preservation, you understood why Silver Surfer ultimately started working against him. By finding uninhabited planets for him to eat. You know, you have some villains that can't help but do what they do. Galactus is one. And he is mysterious because you really don't know his backstory. You know he has to eat planets to survive, but that's it. Now, I am going to give you 2 descriptions of a villain. You tell me who I'm describing and which is the better motivation. Okay? Motivation A. Completely mad, limited resources, overpopulation. Motivation B. Has an obsessive love to get the attention of and get the affection of Death. Death approaches him, allows him to obtain what he needs to obtain in order to bring the balance between life and death in the universe back into balance. Who do you think I'm talking about, and what do you think is the better motivation? Because the second motivation is he accepts and does what Death asks him to do. See how many of you guessed that one. I don't know how much of a delay there is, but I know there's wheels turning as soon as this one comes out. Nope. I'm going to wait for one more guess, and then I'm going to type the answer in the chat. Any more guesses from the chat? Let's see. I've got no clue what this delay is. It shouldn't be hardly any, but, you know. Alright, here we go. And there's your answer. Thanos. Surprised? The movie motivation was motivation A. The motivation from the comic books is motivation B. Which one did you think was the better motivation? The needing to snap half of the population from the galaxy because there's limited resources? Or because he wanted to court Death to the point where he agreed to her terms of obtaining the power of the stones and the Infinity Gauntlet in order to bring the universe back into balance between life and death in hopes that he could woo her? Which one do you think is the better motivation? Yep. Exactly, fuckwad. Exactly. And in the comic books, I'm going to see what reaction you guys have to this. In the comic books, Scarlet Witch survives the snap. If you want the best telling of the Infinity Gauntlet series, you've got to go to the Comicstorian channel and type in Infinity Gauntlet. It is like a 2.5 hour thing, so you may have to do it in parts, but he goes through the whole comic book arc. Yeah, exactly. He wants to solve overpopulation by snapping half of the population out of the universe. I thought is when I heard that motivation, I went, "That's fucked up. That's just fucked up." I just they dumbed down his motivation. I did not like it one bit. I did not like it one bit at all. I mean, it's like let's see, another one they kind of goofed up on, because they, let's face it, the MCU's had some goofs. Another one they goofed up on, and this may be the last one for the stream, is the third Iron Man movie. Netflix used to have the motion comic Extremis, Iron Man Extremis. And that started out as a man going on a rampage through the Extremis and basically ripping shit up. Tony finding out that there's somebody on a rampage, him putting on his Iron Man suit, going to face the guy, almost dying in the process because he couldn't move faster or as fast as the guy he was fighting. So he finds the doctor that came up with the Extremis formula, which happened to be a female, by the way. He asked her if, she could actually do that with him so he could repair himself and stuff. She was reticent at first, but she acquiesced to it. He tweaked the formula a bit and wound up being Extremis Iron Man in that his suit was now nanocharged and the suit could move as fast as he could think. Which I thought was a way better story than the movie that they put for the third Iron Man movie. Now, seeing Pepper jazzed on Extremis was kind of cool. I'll have to admit, seeing her kick ass was really fucking cool, but that's not the way it went. That's not the way it went at all. Let's see. Oh, let's see here. So, yeah. I mean, if I had to recommend, I can't remember the name of the other channel, but if I had to recommend a channel that goes in depth into comic books, it has to be the Comic Storian. It really does, because he does break down the comic books very, very well, and he does give you the whole story of the comic book arc. Yes, I am totally disappointed in what they did to the Mandarin too. Because I would have liked to have seen how they did that particular villain for Iron Man, but they broke him up into a terrorist ring. I'm like, why? I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? The Mandarin is supposed to be, the magical component bad guy of the whole Iron Man shtick. And, in the movies, he was either the terrorist ring or, Ben Kingsley. Which, to me, it would have been really interesting if Ben actually wound up being the Mandarin and he was playing the idiot to see how smart Tony was before he put his plan in action. That would have been interesting if they would have taken that route with it. But they never did. Well, guys, it is that time. Don't forget to like the stream if you liked it. You can support me by following the links in the description below. And keep your eyes, if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, hit the bell for whatever reason, because the bell doesn't work half the time either, but hit it for the hell of it. And I'll see you guys next time. I don't know when I'm going to do another one of these streams, so keep your eyes peeled for another announcement for a stream on the Geek Channel. So, catch you guys next time, and until later, stay geeky.